time of year again. Nothing gets me quite in the holiday spirit like the fantasy football playoffs. Speaking of which, I wonder what the DSF staff thought about what would happen in the playoffs around Thanksgiving.
Who's going to get buys from the first week of the playoffs? Going with LG's Punch Flavored Blunt. Who do you think are going to be the first round buys? Going with King Louis the Fat, moving a little bit up, and LG's Punch Flavored Blunt, the definite #1 seed going into the playoffs. Franks?
I agree with you on LG's Punch Flavored Blunt, but I think the top 2 seeds are going to be the brothers Fletcher. LG's Punch Flavored Blunt and Product of Baby Effing.
LG's Punch Flavored Blunts and Product of Baby Effing.
I agree with you on the product, but I'm going to go ahead and say that my own team, Bone Dragon, is going to be #2.
Bone Dragon?
Yeah, so I'm going with product and Bone Dragon. Talking about 4-7 teams and making it into the playoffs, my money's on Queen Black Acid.
Maybe I'm a cynic. I don't think any of the 4-7 teams are going to make it. If I were forced to pick one, I think Queen Black Acid has the easiest run into the end of the season.
My bets are on my team. Peyton Manning's going to carry me in.
I like +1 mates.
Alright, which of the 6 and 5 teams are not going to make the playoffs? I'm going with the Irish Navy 5.
I'm thinking, even though I love him, Thaddeus Luiz is not going to make it into the playoffs.
Ooh! Alright.
Yes. Oh, you almost chickened my beer.
Sorry. King Louis the Fat. King Louis, you're starting Donald Brown at running back. I don't know you know what that is. You're not making the playoffs, pal.
Unfortunately for Keith, I do not think that the Irish Navy Part 5 is going to make the playoffs this year.
I appreciate the confidence you guys had in my team, but this was my worst fantasy showing ever. However, in the words of Franklin, how could a season that birthed the Commish's corner be a bad thing? On to the matchups. First, we've got #4 Bone Dragon against #5 Thaddeus Luiz. This is a rematch of last week's final regular season matchup between the two.
Rematch!
Bone Dragon, I think you're going to have it rough with Mario Manningham battling that hip injury, and LT going against the Jets, the best run defense in the league. The only person I really have true confidence in this week on your team is Tom Brady. And with that said, I think you should get Rob Gronkowski in as your tight end over Greg Olsen. A lot more potential for points there. Thaddeus, there's a lot to like with your team this week. I see big games on the way from Matt Ryan going against Seattle, Chris Johnson against Houston, and Fred Jackson against Miami. And I think you may also want to figure out a way to get Brandon Pettigrew into your lineup, perhaps at the flex position. He's been pretty solid lately. So all in all, I think Thaddeus is going to pull this one out and beat Bone Dragon again in a repeat after last week and advance to the next round.
Hey, fuck you, Steve.
Our other wildcard matchup this week, we have City Name Sport Team against Polar Bears Toenails. City Name, there's 3 guys on your team that I trust are going to put up points. Drew Brees, Brandon Jacobs, and the Patriots defense. Aside from that, you've got some tough matchups this week with the rest of your players. Not really seeing too much from anyone else. Polar Bears, on the other hand, has got a lineup full of studs with easy matchups this week. I think he needs to ride all of his Chargers this week against the 49ers. That's Phillip Rivers and the San Diego defense. I'd even go as far as to say he should sub in Vincent Jackson over Greg Jennings, since he's not going to have Aaron Rodgers throwing to him most likely.
That's the Budweiser Great Call of the Week, brother.
We've also got reliable sources of points in Michael Turner going against the Seahawks, and the now rejuvenated Jonathan Stewart going against the sorry Cardinals. After predicting that you'd miss the playoffs last week, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, City Name, you will not make the second round of the playoffs this week. Polar Bears has got too many studs going against teams that are really bad. Well, that's it for this week. Only 2 matchups that matter. Next week we'll be at DSF headquarters with a preview of playoff semifinals. Until then, Merry Christmas, everybody, and good luck, playoff teams.
Is the chicken really just superfluous at this point?
It's superfluous and necessary.
So Dave can't even hold it to throw it to you.
Ready? You guys are out of frame now.